Hey guys, it's Aubrey with Muttley Plans. I wanted to get on here and just do a currently inked review for the month of May. I went ahead, swatched everything, and wrote stuff out prettily because it is a little difficult when I'm filming to write nicely, I guess, and that bothers me sometimes, and today is one of those days where it bothered me. So I went ahead and set it up so that all I have to do is talk about the ink, and then I will give my scores, which I forgot to write my score deal right here, so I guess you will see me right. So but anyway, yeah, just gonna talk to y'all about the ink and what scores it is. Full disclosure, it is the 25th of May that I'm doing this. I'm actually filming several videos ahead because my mom will be coming into town in 2 weeks, and so instead of me worrying about filming and stuff like that, I'm going to just have stuff done ahead of time. That way I can enjoy my time with my mom when she comes to visit. So anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna just jump in, and honestly, I really liked the majority of the colors. In fact, 2 of them I'm not going to be willing to let go in the month of June. I may switch a pin, what pin the color is in, but you will see 2 of these colors, yeah, in the month of June. Anyway, so just to jump in, I'm just gonna go down the line here and talk about them. So the first ink is this Ferris Wheel Press Bluegrass Velvet, and I have that in my Edison Beaumont. So right here, obviously it's not like a match. It's a brown pen, blue ink. But yeah, I wanted to put this in this pen specifically because it has a 1.1 stub nib there. And I wanted to have something that was just kind of slap you in your face type color for headers and stuff like that. Full disclosure, this 1.1 nib, at least for this Edison Beaumont, to be fair, I haven't tried it on any other pen, that 1.1 stub, but it's not comfortable to write long term with a 1.1 stub. So I definitely use this more so for headers, and for that reason, and forgive it, it's a mess because I also have issues with this pen, but actually I used quite a bit. This pen, if you watched my fountain pen collection video, you'll know this is not only my most expensive pen, but my biggest disappointment pen, just because like it leaks in here some, and then I just can't get over the grip. Somebody commented after that video, and said that that's normal to get that ink flooding in that grip section, and maybe it is. It's just this is the only pen I own that I noticed that on, and then the ink just, I don't know. Anyway, if you can think of a way to make that not happen, I am more than happy to listen. This is definitely a pen I personally don't feel comfortable selling, just because I'm not 100% confident that it's not faulty, and that's why it's doing it. And it writes well, it's just very expensive for what I use it for. But anyway, yeah, so that being said, after I have totally trashed this pen, I did have a lot of fun with this color. This color is gorgeous. It is vibrant. It is, I mean, it's fantastic. Like, I found myself using this pen a lot more than I usually would have because I had this ink in here. And so for the ink, I'm going to give it a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. And that is just because this ink is so vibrant. It's very legible. It's probably the closest ink that I found to Noodler's Squeeteague, which it's close, but it's not quite, because this is just a little bit lighter and it's not quite as dark. Like when it shades a little bit, it gives you some of that Squeeteague energy, but it's not quite there because it's still a little light. But either way, I love this color quite a bit. Still on the hunt for the perfect dupe for Squeeteague. So if you know a good dupe for it, let me know. But this is definitely a 10 for the ink. For the pen, honestly, I'm gonna give it like probably a 4, because I wouldn't have written with it hardly at all if I didn't have like this ink. And maybe that's the trick for me to use this pen more often, is that I just have to put a amazing ink in it. But yeah, so, and then the combo together, so that's gonna be probably a 7, honestly. I enjoyed it because like I enjoyed being able to put those thick headers on with this pen and with this color, because it's just such a gorgeous color. So yeah, the combo would be a 7, but not because I like the pen, but because I like that it's that thick 1.1 stub nib and this gorgeous ink. So yeah, that is my Ferris Wheel Press Bluegrass Velvet in my Edison Beaumont 1.1 stub. So this next one is Diamine Rosewood in my TWSBI Espresso with a medium nib. I love this pen. My husband bought it for me for my 31st birthday this year. I do like TWSBIs. I only have 2. Truthfully, probably not going to get another TWSBI. Not because I don't like them, but because they hold a ton of ink, and plus I want to try out the Navalor pens that are similar to TWSBI, but not quite, because they're, I'm sorry, Narwhal. And I want to try out those Narwhal ones that are similar to TWSBI to see which one I like the most. And so I'm definitely pumping the brakes. That blue slate that they came out with, that's like that dark blue with the black trimming though, it's very tempting, not gonna lie. But I'm holding off because I want to try the Narwhal ones. Anyway, that's a little bit of a side quest for us. I love this ink and I love this pen. TWSBIs are not uncomfortable for me personally. I know some people are like, oh, I like TWSBI, but I couldn't write with it long term. I can easily write with it long term. And this ink is just, you can't beat it. It's this beautiful, like, pinky chocolate. And yeah, I love this combo. Like, it fits together really well. I'm not always a matchy-matchy person when it comes to my pens, because I don't have the stock in pens, if we're being honest. But this is a gorgeous match. And this nib, so I have both of my TWSBIs. So I have the TWSBI Cream and Rose Gold, which is constantly inked up with an ink. That's why it's not in the currently inked. But both of these are medium nibs. And this nib, this Rose Gold nib, which is still a coated nib, actually writes more fine than this one. This one's a thickums nib. It's all there, which I'm fine with because I like that medium-sized nib for the most part. But yeah, this ink, I have a huge bottle of it. I would give it like an 8, just because, not because it's not beautiful, but because I don't always gravitate towards brown ink, just as a rule in general. And so I would give it an 8. It's still a solid brown ink to carry and have. Like, I don't regret buying the bottle. Like, I wanted that bottle of ink. But it's definitely, I would say this is probably like the only brown, if I had to choose out of all of my brown inks, that I would need for the rest of my life, because I like it. It's got that pinkish tint, but it's still brown and the shading's nice. It's very dependable. The flow is great. I haven't had a problem with this ink in any pen that I've used it in. So yeah, I would say yeah, that. And then my TWSBI, I like this pen. I'm a little biased, but I like it. So I would give the TWSBI a 9. Because there are some pens that I like much better to write with. Like, it's just is what it is, right? But I do love writing with this pen quite a bit. So if you're in the market and you're not wanting to spend, you know, a couple $100 or whatever, and go for a TWSBI. Honestly, they're a workhorse and they're really not a bad pen. The combo, honestly, would probably be an 8.5. Like, it's still pretty high on how much I like it. Like, I actually wrote with this quite a bit. I rotate my pens out weekly by my bedside. I started that this month. It's not like a tried and true way, but I do my Devo at night before bed, and so I just took to grabbing whatever pen I wasn't going to be interested in using in my main planner for the week and putting it by my bedside and writing with it. And the week that I had this, I actually think 2 of the 4 or 5 weeks in May, I had this one by my bedside, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So anyway, moving on, because you're probably tired of hearing about that pen, to Ferris Wheel Press Pink Sugar Beach, which I had in Jinhao Century 100 in the colorway Guava with a fine nib. Not gonna lie, this pen, this Edison Beaumont, is my biggest disappointment. This pen is my least favorite pen of all, and it's probably my cheapest. So it doesn't sting quite as bad as the Edison Beaumont, but yeah. This pen, if it ever broke, I would not scramble to replace it personally. It is what it is. And again, I would be the worst salesperson ever, because I don't feel comfortable giving this pen to anybody because I dislike it so much. And so I make myself ink it up every month, and I just put a random color in it, and I use it at least 1 week out of the month at least. But anyway, this is inked up with Pink Sugar Beach, which is a shimmer ink, if you didn't know, and you can't tell because it's just like mildly a shimmer. It did write well in this pen. Like, this pen does handle, as far as I can tell, shimmers well. It's just the nib it's scratchy, I guess. I don't know, it catches and it drives me nuts. But yeah, this is this pen. The ink, I mean, it's a pretty color. It's a pretty solid pink to have. I have a half bottle left of it. The ink, I would give probably a 7. It's pretty, it writes well, but I'm just not like a crazy like pink person. And so I don't tend to gravitate towards in-your-face pinks like this. Why do I have a bottle? Because last year's ink color for my year-to-year journal was this ink. Why I chose pink? I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time, a year and a half ago, I guess, or a year ago. But anyway, yeah, so the ink is a 7, mainly because I'm just not a heavy pink color person, I guess. The pen, I'm going to give that one a 4 too. Like, I'm going to give it a 5. No, that's a lie. It's definitely going to be a 4. Like, I'll write with it. Like, it's just so scratchy. Ugh. Anyway, let me know if anybody else has a Jinhao Century 100 in any colorway. Let me know if, like, your nib drives you nuts on this. Because at first I thought it was just the nib that it came with. It came with a medium nib. And so I bought a package of 3 Jinhao Century 100 nibs, and all of them do the same thing. And so I just kind of gave up and I left the fine nib on there. I've tried running it across the little sandpaper stuff, and it sucks, frankly. So the combo here, I would give the combo probably a 6. Yeah, probably a 6. So, and that is my rating for this. I'm sorry to be a negative Nancy on this pen, but yeah, I don't like it. And I'm too cheap to throw it away, and too honest to give it to somebody. So, I'm stuck with it. I've made peace with it. I'm going to put it away now, though. The next one I'm going to talk about is... the ink is Pannonia Patina, and it's in my Majan N7 in the Peacock colorway. This pen was a gift for my 31st birthday from my friend. It's in a medium nib. One of my gripes about this pen, and it's a little thing, is that it's got gold trimming, but then they slapped a silver nib in it. I don't think it's an everybody thing, but me personally, like, I like my metals to match, and so that, you know, bugs me a little bit. But overall, this is a pretty sturdy pen. It is a piston feel, so you twist this and it sucks it in. So it's got a pretty heavy ink capacity, and you can see this ink. I didn't use like all of the ink, but I did use it pretty frequently. I would say multiple times every week this month. It is a very gorgeous pen. It's got a nice weight to it. Holds a lot of ink. I enjoy the ink window. This right here, the grip section's a little slidey for me. But overall, not a bad pen. Definitely heavier than my Majan N8, but not a bad pen. This pen, I think I'm gonna give, oh no, I'm sorry, the ink. So, the patina ink that is in it, it's very pretty, but I've noticed that the flow, sometimes it skips. And to be fair, I don't know if it's the pen or if it's the ink. And so I guess I will find out next month. This ink is very pretty. I don't think I would ever pursue getting a bottle of it, just because, like, I don't think I'll gravitate to it. It's a little bit light for me, and it's very pretty, but it's just not necessarily my style. Glad that I have the sample that I have, but that'll be more than enough for me forever on it. So the ink, I would give probably a 7 again, because it really isn't bad flow. Or, well, I don't know if it's the flow sometimes, because, like, right there drives me nuts. But the oh, what is that? The lightness. I just don't think I like the lightness. Oh, that is one thing I've noticed with this pen. We're gonna chase a squirrel, I guess, for a moment, but I've noticed this pen doesn't write very well if it's at an awkward angle. So if you're writing with it at a desk or something, it's perfect. If you are sitting with your journal in your lap trying to write with it, I notice that it skips a whole lot more. And so that's kind of annoying because, like, when I'm at church taking notes, or if I use this in my Devo journal, it just doesn't work like amazingly in that environment. And so for that reason, I'm also going to give this pen a 7. So the combo is going to be a 7 overall. And that is for this beautiful pen right here. Next pen is low-key my pride and joy. This is one of my absolute favorite pens, partially because my husband bought it for me at the Colorado Pen Show, which was the first pen show and only one so far that I've ever been to. And so that's super sweet, but also I just think it is so beautiful. This colorway, it's the colorway Sage. It is a broad nib, and while the 1.1 stub is just, I'm not having it with the comfortableness, this pen, beautiful, very wet, and I could write with this pen for as long as I need to. It is awesome. Although this nib right here, that thing is long. I had to get used to it when I first got it. In fact, I thought I was going to dislike this pen a little bit when I first got it. Not that I told my husband that, because he was nice enough to buy it for me. But I was worried because it was so, like, I wasn't used to being so far off the paper. But once I got used to that, like, oh yeah, writing all day. This ink I am strongly considering buying a bottle of, and it is the Van Diemen's Hummingbird Wing. Oh, and by the way, this pen, if I didn't mention it, is my Franklin Christoph in the colorway Sage, and it's a broad nib. There we go. Now I can continue. But yeah, strongly considering buying this ink. It is a shimmer ink, but I love that dark green color. I am looking for a ink that's dark green to buy a bottle of. My only pause here is that it does have that shimmer, and so I know sometimes that doesn't work in all nibs. So I'm just gonna have to play around with that. I've still got quite a bit of the sample left for it, so yeah, gonna kind of play around in different pens with this ink and then see what I decide, but very heavily considering. So this ink, I would give a 9. It's got amazing flow. I do appreciate the shimmer, but it's not overpowering. It does well in this nib, and it is dark, and you can tell that it's green, which is what I need for my dark greens. I don't want to be thinking that I'm writing with black ink. I want to know that it's green, but I want it to be a dark green because I have standards. And so, yeah, love this ink. Definitely a 9. The pen is a 10. Because I do love this pen. It's slightly bouncy and it's juicy, and I can throw whatever ink I want in it and not worry about it not writing. It is a green pen, and so, you know, sometimes it bothers me if I put a different color ink in it, but definitely 10 out of 10 for the pen. It's phenomenal. And so this combo is going to be 9.5. And that's for this one right here. Yay! This is gorgeous. I just love it. Anyway, I'm going to keep on moving, though, and make sure you're in frame, which you are. So, next one is Diamine Ancient Copper in my Majan N8 in the colorway Maple. It is a medium nib. This is one of my first, fountain pens that I got. Actually, I think my husband bought it for me, because he loves me and, he feeds my addiction. I don't know. But anyway, he did buy this for me. You can get it on Amazon if you're still shopping there. It's a medium nib, and I will say this is a really good writer, but you do need to write with it weekly, otherwise you might have some hard starts with it. If you've been around-ish for a little bit, then you will probably know that Diamine Ancient Copper, I have a tiny bottle of it, is not my favorite. I wish that it was more of that, like, golden coppery tone. I don't know how to explain it, but like almost like a penny, a shiny new penny. And it's not. And me being a farm girl, we had animals that would get injured and we had to use this stuff called iodine. And for a while when I first got this and I would write with this Ancient Copper, I swear I could smell the iodine. I don't know why. But it did, and so I actually had to put this ink away for a little bit. Luckily, my husband has gotten the fountain pen bug a little bit, and so he actually likes this Ancient Copper, so hopefully I'll work through it with his help. But anyway, I did do a little bit better with this ink this go round in the pen. I think the time off was very helpful. I did not smell the iodine when I wrote with it, which is good. But yeah, I would still give it a 6. It's really not a bad color. It's just, you know, I got history with iodine. So, anyway, so it's a 6. It does flow very well. It is a very dependable ink. I didn't have any issues with it. No hard starts, no gumminess, nothing. It was fantastic, and I don't even know how much I used. I'm kind of scared to show y'all. Yeah, I didn't use all of it. I probably used about half of what I put in there, but that's okay. The pen is fantastic. It's probably one of my more comfortable pens. So if you are looking for an more affordable pen, even more so affordable than the TWSBI, because I totally get it, $50 is like 50 bucks. It's like a tank of gas. 25, which is about how much this is, at least before tariffs, it's about $25, and it's comfortable. It writes well. It's juicy. I love it. This pen I would give probably, where would I rate this? I'd probably give it a 9, because there are pens, obviously, that I like better than this one. But it's still a really good pen. The combo, I would probably give it a 7, because I really wasn't reaching for this pen, but it was mainly because of the ink that I put in it versus me not liking the pen. Additionally, what also doesn't help this pen and ink combo's case is the time of year. You know, it's spring. I'm wanting fresh and pretty things, and this is more of a fall ink. So I'm definitely going to ink this up again, probably the same combo again come fall time frame, to see maybe my rating of it changes. I don't know, but anyway, so there's that one. And next we have my Pride and Joy, my Esterbrook Esty Botanical Garden. And yes, I'm still that person. I keep it in this little sleeve here because I don't know, I'm scared for it sometimes, because I am very rude to every other pin that I own, but this one I'm like, oh, please don't get injured. Don't get a scratch, don't get anything. I do really like this. So the hype of the Esterbrook is warranted. The price of the Esterbrook is dependent on how comfortable you are spending almost $200 on a pin. That's absolutely a personal decision. You'll never hear me saying that in order to be in fountain pens, you have to have all of these expensive things, because that's just not true. I did buy this, and I don't regret it personally, but I also don't have other things that I have to buy. So I'll leave it at that. This is still not my most expensive pen, Edison Beaumont, but it is my second most expensive. But this one, unlike the Edison Beaumont, in my opinion, was absolutely worth it. It is very comfortable. Every ink that I've put in it, I have not had an issue with. I guess my only gripe is that I wish I'd have gotten a medium, but they didn't have any medium nibs when I was buying it. So I got a fine nib. And it's still gorgeous. It still writes. In fact, sometimes I find myself reaching for it because it has a fine nib. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense at all, but like, you know, when you have smaller spaces and so you're wanting something that'll write neat and pretty and crisp lines, and so you go for that fine nib. When you're just wanting to slop stuff on the page, or you're okay doing like, you know, the all caps writing, stuff like that, I'm definitely a medium girl. When I'm wanting to write cursive and it just to be super smooth and fast and not worry about ink flow or anything, I'm a medium girl. Yeah, different different pens for different strokes, I guess, you know. Anyway, so this ink I actually bought specifically for this pen. No, I'm not gonna only ink it up with this ink. In fact, next month it's gonna have a different ink in it. But I just, this color right here, and I was like, oh, I really want to ink that matches that, and so I got this, and it did not disappoint. This is a really good ink. It's vibrant, it's very in your face, but it is on point for summer and spring colors. Yes, you could consider it pink, but in my opinion it is a purpley pink, which is a whole different genre of its own, in my opinion. So yeah, the ink is fantastic, which is on par for this Iroshizuku ink brand, apparently. So I would definitely give this ink a 10. Like, I almost want to put a 9, but it's, yeah, it's really good. It's got good flow, and honestly, I mean, half of the time that I reached for this, it was because I wanted the ink, and then the other time it was because I wanted to write with my Esterbrook. It is incredibly comfortable to write with. I will definitely have another Esterbrook in my future, once I have responsibly saved up for it. And not impulsively bought it. I really almost impulsively bought the Coffee Monsters Co. Esterbrook Esty, not gonna lie, but I didn't. So the adult in me won out on that. Anyway, the pen is a 10. Beautiful. And so, therefore, the combination has to be a 10. This combo did not disappoint. And I liked both the pen and the ink quite a bit. I don't know that I'm going to ink this ink up again in another pen this coming month, because I think I'm going to make myself try different inks. But yeah, I think I'm going to miss it a little bit, not going to lie. Great combo. Fantastic pen. All right. So last, and not least, because I don't think anything's going to beat this one right here, that one. Is going to be my Jinhao tin. It's the white and gold one with it's got a fine nib and it's got KWZ Old Gold, and this ink is beautiful. It does evaporate a little bit in this pen. I hear that's a running issue, but I don't care as long as it writes, and it wrote every single time that I pulled it out of my purse or whatever to write with. So still pretty convenient. And I mean, I thought that this was a halfway decent, you know, ink and pen pairing, you know, gold and gold. I don't know. It definitely comes off as a yellowy brown more so than a gold to me. But it's really not a bad ink. I don't think I would get a bottle of this one just because I've got other brownie inks that I enjoy more, truthfully. But not a bad pairing. The ink I would give probably a 7. Like, I enjoyed it okay, but it wasn't, like, I wasn't running to this pen because it had that ink in it. I was running to this pen because it was convenient. The pen is not a very comfortable pen for me personally. In fact, if I had to choose between the Jinhao tin and one of my Majongs, which these are my always inked, always used black ink, blue ink pens, which is why they're not in this currently inked review or anything. I would choose these, truthfully, over the Jinhao tin. I know everybody else online is kind of raging and loving the Jinhao tin. My husband, who has like bear paws for hands, he likes the Jinhao tin, but it's definitely not my favorite to write with. Not my favorite writing experience, but you just can't beat that convenience of a click. And so this did get used quite a bit. I did... Oh, dang. Yeah, it got used quite a bit. As in, it's, hopefully I can still write with it, write it out. But anyway, yeah, it got used quite a bit, but it was more because the pen itself is convenient, not necessarily because it's comfortable. I definitely wouldn't want to write long letters or anything with this. So yeah, the pen I would give a 7, and therefore... the total score has to be 7, right? So, yeah, that is my currently inked, and that's what I think. That's my review for it. So my absolute favorite is definitely this Esterbrook SD Botanical Garden with the Iroshizuku Suzuki. Tin Tin Tin. Second favorite was my beloved Franklin Christoph in Hummingbird Wing by Van Diemen. And then third runner-up would be this Diamine Rosewood in my TWSBI Espresso. So, at the beginning of this, I did mention that I am going to be re-inking 2 of these inks, even if they're not in the same pen. If you've made it this far, comment below what 2 inks do you think I'm going to be re-inking for the month of June. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would, give it a like if you made it this far. Maybe consider subscribing. If not, that's okay too. Either way, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!